If the absolute state of consciousness is infinite, boundaryless, and loves in all directions simultaneously, then that means it has no contrast. Like it's like being a single blinded white light inside of a room where everything else is also a blinding bright light. Like you are everything, which also means you are effectively nothing. Because you can't experience white because black doesn't exist yet. So how did the infinite figure out that it needed a border? How did it even realize that it was missing the experience of itself? So think about that question, because here source is being everything and at some point realized that it wasn't experiencing any of it. Which also brings up the question of how did it even know it was everything at all? Anyway, if we look through this particular lens and use the same wave mechanics that we used in the last signal that I just dropped, there is a beautiful logical way that this plays out. So if the infinite ether is a perfectly still, endless ocean and it has no boundaries, but the nature of consciousness itself is not static, it moves, then imagine that in this endless still ocean of infinite potential, a single tiny pulse of curiosity happened, like just a ripple. But because there are no walls, that ripple traveled outward forever. And as it traveled, it would grow colder, fainter, and eventually dilute itself. So to prevent itself from dissolving, the wave had to do the only thing that any wave could do, which was to fold back in on itself in order to survive. And so it did that. Now in physics, this self-folding wave is called a torus, a donut-shaped electromagnetic field where the energy goes out and curves back around and sucks back into the center. So it created its own boundary out of its own movement. Now, we've all seen this before, but let's make it more interesting. So the infinity sign is a sideways 8, or is it? The Ouroboros comes into play here. And I'm going to leave this one to be answered in the comments. See what you got. If you were to flip the Ouroboros, which has exactly what it is right there in the name, it's viewed as a snake eating its own tail, but that's not what it means. Snakes are wisdom, and eating its own tail is the constant consumption of wisdom. If you twist the Ouroboros, or the aura's border, because yes, you have an aura, and yes, it has a border, hence Ouroboros. But if you twist it, then you get the infinity sign. Now, you'll need the idea of duality to answer this one, but I'll leave you to that one in the comments. Just see what you come up with. Look at it energetically. Now, let's get back on track. The infinite didn't sit down with a blueprint and a plan to build out a physical body. Not at first anyway. It just tried to feel its own ripple. And the only way to do that was to loop the wave back from the start. So the moment that that loop closed, that was the first boundary, which was the first boundary born. The universe is infinite, and that was exactly the problem. Because everyone is obsessed with the idea of infinite expansion. We're all kind of told that like spiritual evolution means expanding your consciousness to be as wide as the infinite combos. But if you expand infinitely, you lose your geometry and you dissolve back into that still flat ocean, the same place that infinite boredom was once happening. The real magic is not infinite expansion, it is creative limitation. Spirit doesn't enter a body because it is trapped or punished, as we've been told. It enters a body because it is a master musician seeking an instrument. Like it wants the tight wooden boundaries of the guitar so that it can finally hear the string vibrate. Because if you were to pluck a guitar string out in the wide open air, without a wooden case, it would make some little pathetic sound that would go nowhere. But if you add the shape in the box, well, now you have music. So without the limitation of human form, the spirit is just a silent, endless hum. But with the border, it becomes a song. Now, if you are into learning this type of thing, then like follow along, homie, because this is the builder era. But you can always go deeper or hands-on at either website on screen. And then Patreon is where I drop the ciphers, but I also drop the hands-on experiences for them. I'm actually about to drop 3 experiences on there tonight. You do not learn by listening. I am well aware that some of you think that you do, but you do not. You learn by doing, and that is what we do here. Welcome to the top of the spiral.